No, no. Hello?
Hi, how you doing, Bruce? Hey,
Hey,
you're
what up, man? What's up? Everything good?
hey, everything's good. Hey, I didn't know you were in the middle of a training session. Sorry about the
No, 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 no. I didn't know we were like on different time zones. I didn't know, and so now right now 7 o'clock. It's like prime training hours, but it's okay though. I those guys are working out. I got some time.
Oh man, yeah, well, that'll be interesting. I guess everybody will get to hear a little bit of what's going on there and what you're doing. For people that don't know a whole lot about you, and honestly, I didn't know a whole lot about you until this fight was announced. I kind of had to look you up, to be honest.
Right?
Um, what You're from Canada. What got you into MMA?
What got me into MMA? I was just like I was a 13-year-old kid. I joined American Top Team when I was about 13 years old. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I was just, I was a pretty athletic kid. And then one day, I remember just seeing Mike Tyson, I remember it was one summer, it was seventh grade summer. I was just bored one day and I kind of was just sitting down and I was just watching Mike Tyson videos. They just had like a special and they showed like from his first fight all the way to his ending fights. And I was just amazed and I told my dad right away. I was like, "Yo, take me to a boxing gym." But there was no boxing gyms around, but there was an American Top Team around. At the time, it was called Crawl's Ultimate Martial Arts, um, and that's somewhere here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And then maybe about a year after joining, Carl's Ultimate Martial Arts ended up becoming like the first branch off of American Top Team Coconut Creek. As you know, American Top Team Coconut Creek, they got Amanda Nunes, they got a whole bunch of killers over there. But they started like franchising, like branching off. And so the first, as you know, like American Top Team, there's maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 50, maybe even 100 American Top Teams now. But the main academy is Coconut Creek, and so the little gym that I found ended up becoming like the first branch off of American Top Team Coconut Creek, and it was called American Top Team Sunrise. So that's kind of how I got started into MMA. I met this guy called Roger Crawl. He was a pro fighter at the time, and he was training a lot of amateur fighters, and I did a bunch of kickboxing matches for him, and I've been with him ever since I was like 13, and now I'm 26 now. I'm gonna turn 27 in July.
Man, well, that's a cool story. That's how I got into MMA was boxing. Of course, I'm almost 40 years old. I'm the same age actually, almost as your opponent, Charles. Uh,
Right, right, right.
I grew up watching Mike Tyson. I was like 8 or 9 years old when he became champion. But that was a lot of fun. But what was your base? You were in Canada. How long were you in Canada for? You were born in Canada, and
Well,
what?
I was born in Canada, and but I grew up here in Fort Lauderdale. I grew up here in Fort Lauderdale. I only spent a short time in Canada. I went back to Canada in like 2014. I trained with Bruckman Martial Arts, but I lived most of my life here in Fort Lauderdale. So I'm a Florida boy. Just like Charles Bennett. He's from Ocala, Florida. So we're both Florida boys here going to war, and so I grew up here in Florida, specifically Broward County. That's kind of where I grew up all my life, Broward County. Um, and yeah, my base, I started off with a bunch of kickboxing matches. I did a bunch of kickboxing matches. I ended up becoming like an amateur world champion in Muay Thai when I was like 16 years old. So that was my base. I started kickboxing when I was about 13, and then I started training jujitsu when I was about, like, I would say 17. And then I turned pro when I was about 20 years old. And I turned pro in MMA.
Wow, dude! Muay Thai is such an incredible base, and then you get that takedown defense and everything. Obviously, you got some beautiful jiu-jitsu. I was watching that guillotine choke. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the guy. I was watching it. You choked him out in like the first minute.
Yeah, yeah, that was Ryan Ramutar. That was an anaconda choke, and it's crazy because that fight, I actually proposed. I brought my, like, right after that fight, I proposed to my girlfriend. I brought her in the cage. I proposed to her. I got down on one knee, and it's all on YouTube. But I choked the dude out, and then I asked her to be my wife and everything. So that was a crazy night. But yeah, I mean, I've been training jujitsu since I was like about 17, and I love chokes. I'm a choke specialist. I love all different types of chokes, specifically, like the anaconda choke and those kinds of things, Darce chokes. That's my bread and butter right there.
Yeah, that's some high level stuff, man. When somebody gets up like that, and you think I thought the guy was getting out, and you go back down and you flip him over, it's like you got him the guillotine, and then you locked him in with that other arm. So when he got up, I could see he was locked, but I thought, man, this guy's still going to get out. And then you hold him through that spin. That grip strength is
Yeah,
that incredible.
you talk to any of my training partners, man. Once I grab a hold of that neck, it's pretty much done. I love the choke. You never I don't man, I don't remember the last time I even attempted an armbar or attempted any other submission. I only go for chokes. I love chokes. And that's my shit. And so, and I see Charles Bennett. Charles Bennett, he has a lot of fights. He's also lost a good few fights by choke. So I look at that, and I'm just really excited to fight Felony. I'm super super excited to fight Felony because not a lot of people know, but I'm sure they'll know after the interview, and I'm sure that after they hear Felony and everything. But I'm a huge 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 Felony fan. Like only my teammates know, like only my wife knows. Like in the last like year or two, I came across Felony's Instagram page, and I just thought he was hilarious. Like I thought and he's also been one of my favorite fighters since I was about 15 years old. Like if you asked me, hey Bruce, who's in your top five favorite fighters? Like since I was 15, 16, 17 years old, like I always said Charles Bennett. I always said that because I just think like I love how he fights everyone. I love his record. Like I gravitate towards fighters with like crazy records like that. I like guys that just fight anyone, anywhere, anytime, and his fights are just the most entertaining I've ever seen in my life. Like you look at the man's highlight reel. I remember this one dude put him in like an inverted triangle. Charles Bennett gets up, throws up a peace sign at the camera, and then spins him around in like circles, and then just throws him up against the cage. Like it was some crazy. Like I remember seeing these videos as a teenager, thinking like, "Holy shit, man, this guy is crazy! Like this guy's crazy." You know what I mean? Like it's his style, his swagger, his live feeds. Like I love it all. And in the last year or two, like I would come home, and my wife would be sitting there just watching TV, and I would just go in my room and just like put on Instagram live feed, and I would just watch the man's live feed. I like to watch his live feed more than I like to watch TV because I just thought he was fucking hilarious. And so that's why I'm really excited to fight the man. The man's a legend.
Yeah, he's definitely a funny, entertaining dude. I love how he jump up on the ropes. That throw you were talking about, where he spun that guy around by his legs. I mean, that looks like something you see on a cartoon. I've never seen anybody do something
Yeah,
quite like that.
neither have I. I've never seen that in my life. That's like some serious like that's like some WWE shit. Like he's like he does like WWE moves in like real fights. It's crazy. That's why I'm excited to share the cage with him, and it's an honor to be a part of the list of names that he's fought. To be a part of his career to me is like it means a lot because the man has been fighting since like 98, 99. You know what I mean? Like so. I mean, it's just crazy. It's huge for me to fight him. Now, as much respect as I have for him, you know, you know what I mean? Like when the cage closes and we're in there to fight, like I'm not no respect at all. Like all that shit goes out the window. I'm coming to kill, I'm coming to choke, I'm coming to knock out. That's what I'm coming to do. But aside from that, the man's a legend. And I have a lot of respect for him, and I have a lot of respect for what he's done in his 20-year career. Just to be in the game for 20 years is ridiculous.
Absolutely, and I have a feeling that those guys are really underappreciated. Those guys that laid the building blocks for it. But I have a feeling that in one day we're going to think about those guys like almost like the Babe Ruths and Mickey Mantles and stuff. Man, I mean, maybe they didn't get the paydays that maybe they deserved and stuff.
Yeah.
And that guy's super super promotable. So I mean, I wish he would have gotten into the UFC at one time or another. Hopefully you guys both end up over in Bellator or UFC.
Yeah, I think, after if we put on a great fight, you know what I mean? Like, I've always wanted Charles Bennett to get into the UFC, man. Like, I know he's on a bit of a losing streak. It's just hilarious because, like, he's on a bit of a losing streak right now. And I remember, like, even last month, like a few weeks ago, I didn't know I was fighting Felony. I was just a huge fan of him, and I remember telling my friends, like, we were talking about him, and I was like, man, I really wish he gets back on a win streak. I want him to win his next fight. You know what I mean? And then, fuck, look, I get a phone call. Hey, man, my coach calls me, Roger. He's like, hey, man, you want to fight, Felony? And I was like, what? Like, because everyone that knows me, if you hang around me, you know that, like, my top 5 fighter list is very short. Like, there's only a couple fighters that I really, really like Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz is one of them. There's a couple. I like Conor McGregor. I'm starting not to like Conor McGregor anymore. I mean, as much these days, but I like the Diaz brothers and stuff like that. And Felony is still in one of those top 5 favorites. Yeah, it's great. It's gonna be a good night on April 26th, man. It's gonna be a crazy night.
Absolutely. So, how did you end up with this promotion? I mean, the first I heard about this thing was a couple days ago, and that it's an adult entertainment website that's doing it, but they're doing it live, and then you guys are going to be able to get donations based on what you do in the cage. That sounds a little crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's really weird. Now, as far as this, like, I hear about all these token buying things and stuff like that. Like, I know, if you're on camsoda.com and you're trying to watch porno and you want to talk with these models, you have to buy tokens in order to speak or chat or video chat or whatever it is. Like camsoda.com, they sell tokens to chat with these models. So I guess these are the same tokens that they're going to be selling during the fight for people to donate towards fighters. Now, as far as I read all these articles about, like, people requesting certain moves and they're donating certain, I don't know, they're like requesting certain moves during the fight. Like, I don't really know how all that stuff's gonna work, but I do know that people are gonna be able to buy tokens and donate them to fighters that they like and that are entertaining. And that's fucking great. That's awesome because, Cam Soda, the porno business is a huge business. I'm sure there's fucking tens of millions of dollars to be made in that. And Cam Soda seems to be a pretty huge company with tens of millions of followers and views and stuff like that. So hopefully all of these tens of millions of viewers that watch their porno, hopefully they're all tuning in and donating tokens to the fighters as well, because that would be great. But as far as, like, requesting moves, like, I read a couple articles about that. I don't know how all that stuff's gonna work out. Maybe they might, like, have a huge screen or something. I don't know. All I know is when I'm in there fighting, the only person I can hear is my coach. I'm not paying attention to anything else. But I did hear about the tokens, and that's awesome. That's real cool. We'll see how it plays out, and we'll see if a whole bunch of people tip me, man. I kind of feel like, I don't know, I feel weird. Like, people are tipping me and shit. It's weird. It's funny.
I hear you. I felt that way the first couple times going on Super Chat too, though. But it's no different than anything else. It's you guys have an art, and it's a way to get paid. And for me, my dream, and a lot of the guys on my channel don't know, my dream is to have a smaller MMA promotion. That's the big thing.
Right.
I've been saving up. Basically, that's been my plan for about 15, 20 years. And this kind of makes it so a guy like me might be able to go into something like that. I know a lot of fighters. It'd be fun.
Right.
I'm not looking to make money myself. I'm just looking, to have fun, maybe make a living. But, I mean, it could be a great thing. But doesn't that give guys the greatest excuse to be on a porn site? It's like, oh, man, I was just watching MMA. It's an MMA channel.
Yeah, I know. It's funny, man. It's funny. Well, we'll see how it works out. I am intrigued by it. I think that a huge company like Cam Soda, if anyone is to like make this work, it would be like a big company with money and lots of viewers like Cam Soda, and we'll see how it works, man. Well, I mean, we'll see how this plays out. All I know is I'm getting prepared to fight an MMA legend, and I'm just super excited, and I'm ready to throw down, man. I'm training real hard. Um, I'm just training super hard, man. I'm fucking excited.
Hey, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited for the format to see how this works out, what this does for MMA in the future. I mean, I hope it's as respectful. I hope it doesn't get too ridiculous, like they're not asking you guys to do stupid stuff. But I mean, that we'll see when that gets there, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it gets, but I mean, I guess people are gonna like. I guess people are just gonna. I think it's just people donating tokens to fighters that are entertaining. I don't think it's gonna be so much of people like donating tokens so a fighter can do a certain move because that's fucking crazy. Your coach is screaming, "Hey man, throw a fucking 2-3 leg kick," and you won't even do it. What makes someone requesting some shit during the fight and you're gonna do that? I think it's more so people are just gonna donate tokens to fighters that are the most entertaining, and that's a lot of incentive. That's good. I wonder how much money, I mean, how much extra money I'm going to make with this, if there's a shitload of viewers. Because, like I said, they have lots of viewers on their Cam Soda website. So hopefully these same viewers come and watch the fights.
For sure. I had not heard of it. I'm getting quite a few questions in since we had, the time zone mix up, and I didn't know you were in Florida. A few people came in late. So can you tell us anything more about your backstory? I'm sorry if I make you repeat a little bit, but somebody wants to know about your backstory.
Yeah, no worries, man. No, and I'm glad. I'm also a gym owner. I'm 26 years old. As far as like fighting, I turned pro when I was about 20 years old, and I've probably had like I don't know like the worst personal life. I mean, there's probably other people with worse personal lives than this, but as far as like trying to be an MMA fighter and trying to get your career started, I've had a lot of fucking horrible things happen to me in my life. Like I was pretty much homeless when I was about 16 years old. I've been living on my own since I was 16 years old. My dad, my brother, they both like my whole family ended up just leaving to go to Trinidad when I was about 16 years old. My brother got in some trouble here in Florida. Like my parents were illegal immigrants that came up from Trinidad, and like they were here living in Florida all for all of my life. And so my brother ended up getting in some law trouble, some trouble with the police. He ended up like fucking robbing like a Metro PCS store, and so because of that, he went to jail, and then he got deported. And this all happened when I was about 16 years old. And so when he got deported, he was about 19 years old, 19, 20. And so my parents were like, "Oh man, we can't just leave." My brother's name was Brent. We can't just leave Brent out to go to Trinidad and live on his own. So the whole family decided to go to Trinidad and live in Trinidad. And they said, "Hey Bruce, are you coming?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "No way," because at that time, at 16 years old, I had just won the amateur world championships for the IKF. The IKF is like the biggest amateur tournament in the world for Muay Thai. People from England, Canada, all over the world come to compete there. And I had just won the title. So I was 16 years old, training with American Top Team. My trainer, Roger Carl, was saying, "Hey, man, as soon as you turn 18, you're going to turn pro. We're going to get you to the UFC." So I said, fuck no, I'm not going to Trinidad. I'm not going to live in no third world country. I'm going to continue to pursue my career. So I did. And so I kept going. I turned pro when I was about 19 or 20. And then I ended up going, and the whole time, again, I'm Canadian. The whole time I'm fighting, I'm going to school. Pretty much, my coach gets me a fight in Trinidad. I go to Trinidad, and that was the fight that you saw, the Anaconda choke. So me being a Canadian citizen, I traveled outside of the country to go do that fight in Trinidad, where I anaconda choked a dude in 1 round, and I proposed to my wife. And so coming back into the country, I was a Canadian citizen. I had some problems with like the immigration and all that stuff at the border, because I wasn't a U.S. citizen at the time. They pretty much ended up like saying, "Hey, man, you can't come into the U.S. Like we're gonna deny your entry. You got to get your shit together. You got to go to Canada." So that's how I ended up in Canada for the whole of 2014. So I'm in Canada. That's where I lived there for about a year. So all of this stuff, it kind of set me back. Like I was like living in Canada, like pretty much by myself in like the ghetto in some place called Oshawa. I met a gym called Bruckman Martial Arts, and they took me in like family. I said, "Hey man, like I just fucking ended up in Canada. The U.S. border just said, hey man, you can't come in. I'm stuck here in Canada." So I trained there for a little bit. Um, and then I made my way back to the U.S. in 2015, and I just been training and fighting ever since. But that's pretty much it, man. Like I just been hustling, and now I have my own gym. Last year in March, I think this month makes it 1 year that I opened up my own gym. So I came back from Canada. When I came back from Canada in 2015, I was here in America. I had nothing. I had like $50 in my pocket. I was living in a hotel called the Ramada, and this is just in 2015. Um, and then I got a job working at some gym called Fitness Through MMA. I started working at the gym. Long story short, about 2 years later, which is last year, March, I ended up buying the gym over from the original owner who I was working for. And so here I am now. I haven't done an MMA fight since I took my gym over. I took my last MMA fight was January of last year. And I told my coach, Roger Carl, I said, "Hey, man, I'm not going to fight anymore. I have a gym. I'm going to try and make my gym work. I'm going to try and build members. I don't want to do any MMA fights. I'll do a couple and then I did a couple pro boxing matches in between. But pretty much for the last year and a half, I've been grinding and working at my gym. It's called Fitness Through MMA Hollywood. And that's what I do, man. So I'm working at my gym, and still trying to get to the UFC. I made my pro debut in 2011, and fuck, like I told myself I was going to be in the UFC by the time I was, 20 years old. I became 20 or 21. I was 21. I didn't get to the UFC. I'm like, all right, I'll be in the UFC when I'm 24. Didn't get to the UFC when I was 24. I fucking got kicked out the country. I was fucking homeless. I was this and that, and so shit, just a lot of personal things keep happening to me. And so I'm trying to now in 2018 get back on a consistent. I want to get on a win streak and get back, try to get to Bellator, get to UFC, get to one of those bigger shows. So that's kind of me, man. I'm just fucking hustling at my gym, Fitness Through MMA Hollywood. Um, and yeah, I'm fucking married. My wife is also 9 months pregnant. She's like 9 months and 2 days pregnant. So before I fight Felony, my baby is to be born like this week, like this Sunday. I'm expecting my first baby. So there's a lot of shit going on in my life.
Wow, man. First of all, I'm sorry you had to go through all that. My opinion's kind of just so stupid. Some people act like, and they're so special because they were born on a different piece of dirt. It's like you didn't do anything to get that. You were just born on a different piece of dirt. But congratulations on the gym, man, on the marriage, on the baby. What a story. That's like a movie story, man. You have to write a book one day.
Yeah, no, I mean, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to do like a short film, kind of like on my life. Like I don't want to be like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to be like all overzealous and shit about myself and shit. But I just feel like I want people to know my story because, like, I literally was homeless when I was 16 years old, and I've had to work for everything I've had. Like a lot of MMA fighters, they have families that they live with, they have parents that they live with, they have a whole right now as it stands, it's just me and my wife. It's just me and my wife here. Like that's it. And that's how it's been. Like I haven't had a family. to give me any extra money to cover rent or whatever. Like I had to do everything. And then I haven't even mentioned how I work 60 hours a week doing like catering deliveries. So on top of running my own gym right now, I fucking work 60 hours a week doing like food deliveries and catering deliveries for like a driving app kind of service. Like when I tell you I'm working like three full-time jobs, I'm trying to juggle training to fight felony. I'm trying to fucking work 60 hours a week doing like catering stuff. And then I'm working 20, 25 hours a week at my own gym teaching classes and all of that stuff, man. And it's crazy, you know. I'm fucking hustling and then besides all of that stuff, like I'm fighting also for my brother. You know, I haven't even mentioned that. Like, if I get into that, like this conversation will probably end up being like a fucking another hour. My brother, I just want to just say it. You know, my brother's, like I said, he got deported in Trinidad when he was about 19, and for the last 10 years, he's lived a kind of a hard life in Trinidad. Like, he went from living in America, being first world country, first world everything, to living in a third world country kind of like in the country, like my grandparents, you know, like they don't have a lot of money. And so my brother was kind of depressed in the last 2 or 3 years. He was also a working paramedic, but he was just really depressed living in Trinidad, and he suffered with depression. And 6 months ago, on September 25th, 2017, my brother fucking hung himself and he committed suicide. All throughout this. And you know, his baby was also just born yesterday. My wife is supposed to give birth this Sunday, and my brother's girlfriend just gave birth yesterday. So me and my brother were both expecting babies. And my brother was my biggest fan and biggest supporter. Like when I came down to Trinidad to go fight in the show called Cuff, you know, my brother sold tickets. He did everything. He always tried to promote me. And you know, I'm dedicating this fight to my brother. You know, my brother was my biggest fan, and he always wanted to see me fight in the UFC. He always wanted to see me make it. He always told me that I need to be more aggressive in all of my fights. Um, you know, so this is what I want to do, like a short film on. You know, I kind of I want to do all that because I've had a lot of people die on me. You know, my fucking brother died just 6 months ago. You know, my mom died when she was 46 years old just a few years ago. You know, my wife's mom had died. Like, I have a lot of people dying on me. Like, but the incident that happened with my brother just 6 months ago, man, it's really like fucking with me. But it's really motivating. Like, it's the most motivating thing that anyone can have. Like, I wouldn't wish that on anyone, man. Is to have someone that you love fucking hang themselves, man, because they're so depressed. It's really fucked up. Like, and I don't mean to bring this conversation on a super negative vibe and like fucking like make the conversation super sad, but like I mean, you said to kind of just let everyone know about me, and I just wanted to, like, I have to mention my brother because that is what I'm fighting for. Like, I'm fighting for his name. I'm fighting for him. I'm fighting to represent him. Um, and that's what it is. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't know is that, like I said, in the last year, I was a huge Felony fan, a big Felony fan. And when my brother died, I was super fucking depressed, very depressed. And I remember when I told you earlier in the conversation, I would come home from like working, I don't know, a 13-hour shift. And the first thing I would do is go home and literally just fucking go and watch Felony's live feed because it would make me laugh and I was just depressed and like I don't even like to watch TV and shit. And so I would just sit here at home and watch Felony's live feed, and I remember watching Felony Charles Bennett's live feed and saying, "Hey man, my fucking brother died, bro. Like my brother committed suicide. Um, you know, can you give him a shout out, man?" You know, and he did. Charles Bennett gave my brother a shout out. He said, you know, he said my brother's name and everything. And that made me feel super, super happy just to have someone like famous, like Felony, like Charles Bennett, just even say Brent, just for him to say my brother's name, at that super down time in my life, it made me feel real happy. I'm like, hey man, at least someone knows about Brent, and at least someone knows about what happened to him. And in the last couple days, I've been watching Felony's live feed, and Felony actually he talked some shit about my brother. Like he's been talking like some smack. Like he knows Felony knows me. He knows Bruce Iron Lion because I always commented on his live feed. I'd be watching his live feed and I'd be like, "Hey, Felony, what up?" Like I was just one of his fans that I would just comment and shit. Like yeah, he's really interactive with his fans and stuff. So I would just be one of those fans commenting. And so he knows me. He knows that I messaged him about my brother. He even gave my brother a shout out. And in the last maybe 2 or 3 days, I heard him on his live feed. Like sometimes I watch his live feeds and he's like, hey man, Bruce reached out to me about his brother, and then he started talking shit about suicide. He's like, man, you guys know how I feel about suicide. He fucking I think he called my brother a coward. He says he doesn't really fuck with any of that shit, and then like he was like, oh, I would, why would I give that dude a shout out, this and that, but he did give my brother a shout out, and now he's I don't know, like the shit that kind of fucked with me is that like he called my brother a coward, like, and this is all on his live feed. This was just like 2 3 days ago, like. You know what I mean? Like, I reached out to Felony when I was super fucking depressed. Like, my brother had just killed himself, like, that fucking week. And so I was just reaching out to him, just telling him, like, what the fuck happened in my life? And so now I heard him call my brother a coward. And I was just like, you know what I mean? Like, my mental game is very strong because not a lot of things fuck with me. You know what I mean? After my brother killed himself, after my mom died, like, not a lot of things could fuck with me. Like, not a lot of things people could say could fuck with me. And so I'm a huge fan of Felony, but after watching, like, his live feeds in the last day or two, hearing him talk some shit about suicide and hearing him talk shit about my brother a little bit, like, it kind of makes me feel a certain type of way because, like, I actually wanted to hang out with Felony after the fight. You know what I mean? Like, Felony's that when I heard about the fight, I was like, hell yeah. I was like, fuck yeah, man. Maybe me and Felony could fucking hang out after the fight. We could chill out. You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't know if any of that might go down after the fight, after I heard what he said. But I'm still a fan of his, but I'm just a little less of a fan and you can't blame me because
No,
you
man.
can't blame you can't blame me for feeling like a certain type of way. I mean, the dude talk shit about my brother, but it's all good though, man. I still think he's a legend. I'm still excited to fight the man, and I'm not gonna be disrespectful towards him or anything like that because I think he's a legend.
Well, you got a ton of integrity, and being that I have him on next, I'm still going to say if somebody said that about my brother, I'd want to rip their fucking head off. I'll tell you that. But I was
Yeah,
actually listening to the
Felony,
streams.
I mean, he's on his live feed. He talks his mind. You know what I mean? And so, if you feel a certain type of way about suicides, that's cool, man. Whatever. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And like I said, I still respect the man. And maybe he's just talking shit because the fight's coming up, and I don't know. But nothing's gonna get under my skin because right now, real shit, like since my brother died, like I'm like kind of like dead, like I'm like a dead man walking, like nothing phases me, like nothing worse could happen to me, like getting knocked the fuck out in a fight is not worse. Nothing could be worse than losing a loved one in that fashion. So just what I mean, just to hear I mean, my shit is he fucking shouted it. He shouted my brother out. He said, "Hey Brent, man, I'm sorry, man." That's what he said. And like I have it on videotape. Like I was so excited that he said that and he gave my brother a shout out that I actually videotaped it like from my cell phone. Like I videotaped that little 2 second part of Felony saying, "Hey Brent, man, sorry, man." Like that shit meant a lot to me. But to hear him say, "Hey man, he's a coward," just a few days ago, You know what I mean? I don't know. It makes me feel a certain type of way. But like I said, that's why we have MMA. That's why we have a fight coming up. So you know, like I can relieve my stress. I can let it all out when the cage rings. That's why, we're not barbarians. We're not fucking gangsters or nothing like that. We're gonna go in there and I feel a certain way and I'm gonna just let it all out when the cage door closes.
Well, what a backstory, man. And I got to say, I've been watching his live feeds too. I've been listening to some interviews because I knew I was going to have him on the show. And I've been a fan for a while. And I heard him saying something about some suicide. And I was like, man, that's messed up. And I didn't put it together that that was your brother until you started going and talking about your brother. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah, well
God.
he knows about my brother, man. Like I said, he knows about him, and he knows me. Like he knows I was a huge fan of him. And I still am a huge fan of him. Like I don't think I'll ever stop being a fan of him. And I think he got all mad about some Facebook posts as well. Like what made him start talking about the suicide shit is that my first Facebook post that I posted on my Facebook, I was like, "Hey guys, everyone, I'm fighting fucking MMA legend. I'm fighting Felony Charles Bennett." And then I put better known as, or I put also known as Crazy Horse. And just so my friends would know who he was. I know a lot of people maybe might not know who Felony was, and it might click in their heads when they hear Crazy Horse. And so he got all offended about that. And then he started going in about my brother and about he was like, "Oh, Bruce is a fuck nigga, this and that, whatever." You know what I mean? But like I said, it's whatever though. It's whatever. I'm excited to fight the man, and whether he fucking was talking shit about my brother or not, the same exact ending, the same exact result is gonna happen on April 26th. I'm a pretty level-headed guy. And like I said, I just want people to know who Bruce Iron Lion is. If you don't know, man, just YouTube my name, watch my fights. All my fights are stand-up striking wars. That's why I think this fight is going to be great. Because I'm not going to be one of those guys that just wants to wrestle fuck Felony. I'm not going to be leg humping. I'm not going to be taking him down and trying to hold him down and tire him up. I'm going to be giving the fans a great fight. We're going to be standing up and banging. If anything, Felony is going to be the one that tries to take me down. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to be tagging him up so much. So, that's what I do, man. I'm a fucking slick ass kickboxer, and I call it the slick movements, and everyone's going to see the slick movements April 26th, man.
Well, yeah, everybody watch that April 26th. I'm going to continue to be promoting it on my channel. Thank you so much for telling your story. I know that can't be easy. I'm sorry for everything that's happened.
Yeah, man,
but I
no
just
worries,
wish the
man,
best
no
for
worries.
you, man. And I'm going to put your name out there. I don't know, a whole lot of guys. I know some guys, lower level movie guys, some MMA guys and stuff. But I'll definitely put your name out there. I'm definitely a fan, man. That's us MMA fans. We like
Yeah,
backstories and
thank you,
people that
man.
overcome adversity.
Thank you, and like I say, man, I'm fucking hustling, bro. And the best thing about it, I'm 26 years old. Like I'm 26 years old, and I've been training with American top team since I was 13 years old. So I have a lot of experience and a lot of youth on my side. So you guys are gonna see it, man. Anyways, thank you so much for the interview, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much. You have a Facebook, or you have a YouTube channel, right? You want to shout that out and
Yeah,
tell
it's
people
yeah,
what that is?
Bruce Iron Lion Television. Bruce Iron Lion Television. You can check all my fights out on that.
All right, everybody, check that out. Thank you so much for the interview. Hopefully, we
Yep.
can have you back again after the fight. That would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then also my Instagram shit is at Bruce Iron Lion. Just follow me, Bruce Iron Lion. Take it easy, man. Appreciate the call.
All right, you two, take care. Good luck in your
All right.
fight, and I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Awesome. Bye.